All right. Yeah, excited. Championship week, Tuesday. Just it's good that we've got cold weather here this week, so we can practice in it since we're going to be playing in it. And talked a little bit. I know about it Saturday night after the game, but now having a chance to watch it, I mean, it's an exciting matchup. Got a great opponent, man. Just they don't really have a lot of weaknesses. I know they testing themselves out of the gate early. And then, man, they have just gotten better and better each week. And then, the last half of their season schedule was a lot harder than the first. And they had to go on some tough road games at Pitt and Virginia Tech. And, we played Louisville, so we know how good they are. And, they're almost a broken play, a little bit fluke, 3rd and 16 last week away from winning that one and being 10-2. So, complete football team. Starts with the quarterback on offense. And really at every level on offense, they got good. They're really well coached on the O-line. Got a big-time running back. 1,000-yard rusher, big-time tight end, and then some really talented young skill players. But I just think it starts with Cade. I remember him coming out of high school, championship-winning quarterback. He's tough. He can really spin it, big arm, and he's really making a lot of plays with his feet. And then defensively, that's kind of been the calling card there for the last decade. They're big up front, really big in the middle, which helps them on the internal run game, and then excellent pass rushers. Really good on third down. They're really good on third down. And then linebackers that can run and DBs that cover really well. So they're kind of a complete team, so it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Rhett, you talked about them being better and better each week. How would you classify your team in that? Do you feel like you're getting better and better each week?
I think so. I hope so. Yeah, and that's what good teams do. Good teams do two things, in my opinion, because all the stuff being talked about, who should be in, who should not. Good teams don't lose to teams they're supposed to beat, and they haven't, and we haven't. The games they've lost were against really good football teams. It's like, man, either team could win. And the second thing they do is they get better as the season goes on. Particularly, there's no preseason in college football. And with the transfer portal, it's a lot different than it used to be. So you look at us. Week 1 against Nevada, week 2, okay, then week 3, and then we got a bye week, and then we kind of figured out who we were. It usually takes somewhere between 2 to 4 games, and there's no preseason in college football. So, especially when you do like they do, step out and go play someone like Georgia week 1, or, we played BYU week 3. Sometimes teams can stumble early, but then credit them the way they have just done what I think we've done too, and just get better and better each week, and that builds confidence.
Kind of a unique situation where you guys, your last 3 postseason games have either been in road environments or road-like environments, going to Boston, going to Tulane, going to North Carolina. How do you kind of get the team ready for that aspect of it? Probably the best fan base you've played against.
Yeah. Obviously Clemson's got a great fan base. They travel well. I think we're going to travel well, but yeah, we're a little farther than Clemson from Charlotte. I don't know. We're used to it. We've played in great environments this year. We played at Louisville. That was a really good environment. That was 100% against us, right? So we did it last year at Tulane. So Boston College in the bowl game, it just happens. And so maybe one day we'll play in Dallas or something like that. But we don't talk too much. Just like when we go on the road, we don't make it a bigger deal than it is, and maybe that's why our guys have been successful doing it. If you're a competitor, you want there to be energy in the building. You want there to be an atmosphere in the stadium, and I would think there's definitely going to be that Saturday night. So I would think our guys will be excited, just like I think they will be, to play in it.
Clemson's one of the top teams in turnover margin nationally. What do you kind of see from them on offense?
Yeah.
Decision making that less them in control possession than defensively.
Yep. Yeah, I think it starts with Cade offensively. Like I said, they don't turn the football over. He's really smart. When stuff's not there, he'll throw it away or he'll create a lot like Kevin can do for us. And then Maffa's a really good experienced back. He's big, he's downhill, he wears on you, and he knows how to hold on to the football. So I think signs of a well-coached team there. And then on defense, they're one of the best. I think they're number 3 in the country, but one of the best at creating fumbles. They tackle the ball well. They punch it out. They rip it out. A lot like Navy has in the past when we play them. You could just tell that they're coached to not just get you on the ground, but attack the football. And I think they average getting a fumble recovery a game. That's pretty remarkable. So, it's like everything else. We got to value the football and play our game. But, at times this year we've been really good that way. We've taken the ball away and we've valued it. And the couple times we haven't, we've seen how challenging it is to win then. So, probably a big key in the game.
What kind of challenge does that present for someone like Rashard? He's obviously had a full season running back, but
Yeah.
still maybe not easy.
I mean, the fact that we played 10 straight Power 4 games, I think makes it like, look, they're good at that, but we've been pretty good at not fumbling it. So hopefully, who knows if something's got to give or not. I mean, if you're a running back and you're running with the football, you're a receiver, you're running the football, you're expecting to get tackled and them to try to rip the ball out in college football. So, we've got to be very ball conscious, but we work on that every week. That's part of our routine. We just got through doing it today, and we can't let them take it away and get good field position and grab free possessions and prevent us from scoring with it.
How much does last year's experience, this preparation, this extra week, does that maybe just kind of make it seem like just another week for the guys?
Probably helps a little. It's not the exact same team, but we do have a lot of guys returning who were a part of that and going down to Tulane last year. So, today was Tuesday, yesterday was Monday, and we've not treated them any differently than we have all year, and we won't the rest of the week. So routine's a big deal, and especially when it's been working for you. So I think it'll help. Maybe early in the game, just not the moment be something that is totally new for everybody and we haven't experienced. Even Kevin got to start in that game last year. So, your past experience can be a positive.
Are there any parallels to the first ACC game against Florida State, kind of that giant, not Slayer mentality, but it is Clemson, Florida State?
Yeah. Probably, kind of bookends our season in the first year. We started with Florida State, who won the league last year, went undefeated, and we're ending with Clemson, who's going for their 10th or 9th, whatever it is, 10th conference championship. And here we are just showing up on our first. So that's what we wanted. We wanted to challenge ourselves. We wanted to see where we stood. We wanted to be at this level. We wanted to play on this stage. We wanted to be playing in the championship game on national TV, ABC, playoffs being decided a week away. And, so, we're going to go play free and cut it loose. And our guys have earned the right to be there. We have ultimate respect for Clemson. But this is the stage we want to be on. And, after this game's over, no matter what happens, that's what we want to get back to in the future. And so it's a good opportunity for our program.
We talked a lot this year, obviously, about Richard's conversion to running back, but clearly he had the 3 straight 100-yard games, and people kind of started tuning in. And now, the last couple of games, he's kind of gotten back to a little bit of catching. In fact, he had a great catch last week.
Yeah.
Talk about that importance, about how he still can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, credit Cal. They had a good job. They were loading the box last week, and we, other than one run, we didn't spit a lot of big runs. But, really good players find other ways to impact the game. And he still had 150, I don't know what it was. He had 60-something rushing, 60-something passing, I think, and a couple touchdowns. And he's a matchup problem. He's a good player, and defensively you got to account for him. I know they're probably working on that right now, but especially when you lose matchup guys like R.J. Maryland and some of those, you need those guys to step up. But he's an all-purpose player. We haven't returned as many kickoffs this year intentionally, just because he's become such a focal part of our offense. But, he came into the season, preseason all-conference kick returner for a reason, and he's still got that. So when you take that, the ability to catch the ball, to be able to run the ball, I think him and Roderick Daniels are kind of two guys that, usually if you have one guy like that, it's kind of special. And you try to use – we actually have two, and that's rare, and that are just so versatile in 3 phases, the return game, the catching it and running it. And but no, I thought Richard played well. And like I said, people start to focus on that. I think you've seen the last few weeks our outside receivers making more plays and things like that.
Signing day tomorrow, bringing in some more guys from programs like DeSoto, like Duncanville.
Yep.
How important has that relationship been for you with programs like that and bringing in guys that are competing for Texas high school football championships every year?
Well, it's huge. For us to get our program to this point and to continue to grow it to the level we want to, we have to be able to recruit all of Texas, and we have to be able to recruit all of Dallas. And, that's what we focused on the last several years, and I think you've seen that's helped our program grow. We're Dallas's team. We're not one area of Dallas's team. And those guys have seen the value of coming to SMU and getting an education and having a great career here in Dallas and what that can do for them personally. So tomorrow being signing day is a big deal. It's so weird, how much signing days changed. What is this, 2024? I just think, just go back 8 years, 2016. Everything was, first of all, it was in January. or February, excuse me, and it was all about the build up to that, and ESPN was having a big all-day signing coverage, and you'd get up at 4 a.m. and you'd look at a fax machine, and now here, what are we doing? Like my first year here, we're at a bowl game playing BYU on the Wednesday, the signing day, and I don't remember what we were doing last year. And then, tomorrow we're having Wednesday morning championship week practice, and there's no fax machine. It just comes in DocuSign. You know what I mean? So it's a huge day. It's just kind of weird how now there's 2 signing periods. There's kind of only one, but there's 2. And so our recruiting team has done a really good job. We are really excited about this class. It's our first class in the ACC, even though it really all started and mostly came together before we'd ever played a game in the ACC. But I think it's big. It was the first class, and now that coupled with our success, and people have now seen us playing the ACC. As a matter of fact, they're going to see us playing the championship game, so it's kind of harder to make it any more a reality than that. I think it'll only help the next class and the next class. But it's a big deal. We're going to be excited. Hopefully all those guys sign, and we can celebrate with them tomorrow after practice, and just add a little more juice to championship week.
The aftermath of the BYU game, I think you talked about as being a pretty important moment for this season. Obviously, you make the quarterback change, but kind of looking back, what do you remember about the work the offensive line really did? Because it felt like as they locked in, that kind of opened things up.
Yeah. Well, Garen Justice is the best offensive line coach in America. I'm biased, but I wouldn't trade him for anybody. And I think the reason being is he has great relationships with those guys. They trust him, and he's willing to give everybody an opportunity. And, I think after that game, we had a very good idea of what the starting 5 needed to look like, but also knowing we're going to need the 6th, 7th, and 8th guy, and they're all going to play. And so I think just like we did with quarterback, it just being able to settle down, have continuity everywhere. Again, 3 games in, you kind of have an idea, okay, this is the direction this team needs to go. And let's start working towards that and know that each week we could get better and better. And I think the O-line was a big part of that, the consistency, continuity. We've stayed pretty healthy, but even when, Savion's banged up, Chamblee pops in. When Logan can't go, Ben Sparks pop in. Nate Anderson's hopped in there. So those top 8 guys have really done a nice job of kind of just week to week getting comfortable in their roles. And I think that's a big deal, especially in O-line. O-linemen don't get any credit. You've heard it said that they're the only position group that everyone else on the field needs them, and they don't get a lot of credit. But they've all done a good job of being a star in their role.
Any injuries you can update,
Logan is, like I said, we anticipated him playing last week. We just went through warm-ups, and Garen just said, man, if he just doesn't seem right, I'm going to try to play Ben and not play him, and we were able to do that. He seems better this week, so he should be available. And, of course, we've seen Ben's very available if we need him. Trying to think who else. I think there's a chance, Romelo's could be available this weekend if we need him. We hadn't had him for, about 8 weeks. We didn't lose anybody in the game last week. So other than your normal bumps and bruises, and now that we're about to play our 11th straight Power 4 game, everybody feels that way. I'm sure Clemson does too. So we're as healthy as we could want to be right now, I think, based on the way that the last half of the season's gone.
Can you speak to the job that Grizz and that whole staff and this facility and all the things
Yeah.
that have helped get? I know there's been some
Yeah.
major injuries, knees
Yeah.
and things like that, but overall.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked that. No, I mean, Sean Griswold's amazing, especially if, you think I came in 3 years ago, first-time head coach, to get a strength coach who's got 25-plus years of experience. He's been awesome for me and our staff. But, what we wanted – the strength staff's got a bunch of jobs, right? And they touch everybody in your program, especially the players the most year-round. You're right. Injuries are part of football, but we don't have a lot of soft tissue injuries. We don't pull a lot of hamstrings, a lot of groins, a lot of those things that can somewhat be prevented. I mean, it still happens some. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. But probably the biggest thing is we're bigger and stronger than we ever were. When I got back here 3 years ago, we didn't want to be a finesse program. We didn't want to be a program that doesn't get under heavy bars and lift heavy weights. Like, we're smart, but it's football. You got to build mass and muscle mass. He's done that while keeping them healthy. And then I'd say the biggest thing is we wanted to be a program that's about finishing. And it's easy to say we had to go accomplish it. Well, that gets accomplished in the spring, in the winter, the spring, and the summer with how our guys trained and the culture that him and his staff built. We're 11-1 in November the last 3 years, and I think a large part of that's because of Grizz and his team and how those guys buy into his program.
Rhett, when you took this job 3 years ago, I mean, obviously there was a vision. You've been here before, and you know there's a vision. And I know you've got a lot of other things on your mind, but have you had a moment to kind of step back and say how fast things have kind of gone and how quick the success has come?
I've not had a moment to like sit and reflect on it. I mean, every now and then when you ask a question like that or someone else does, I'm like, oh yeah, wow, this is okay. No, I think it's just we just go to work and we pour into the guys on our roster. Our staff does an excellent job of just making the main thing. And there's a lot of things that have to happen, a lot of departments that have to work really hard. But we focus from the inside out. We focus on our guys and the relationships and the culture and the stuff that's going to win games and going to sustain winning. So I haven't. I mean, it's been pretty cool for us to realize to some degree our potential fast. But we're going to live in the moment now and try to see how far this year can go. But then also, like, you're really just getting started because it's hard enough to create and achieve success, but then sustain it's a whole nother conversation, and that'll be our charge after this year. But right now we're trying to get as much out of this one as we can. But no, I really haven't, and I don't need to. I need to stay as focused in the moment as I can.
After clinching the spot in the ACC championship game, I think you kind of talked about how maybe it could help players play more freely at the end of the regular season. Is there any world where what the CFP ranking is tonight helps the guys play freely, or do you think it's too detached from what you think?
I don't think so. But just because whether we're ranked higher or the same or lower, like the only thing we can control is Saturday night. So yeah, I mean, I think most people, and I don't want to speak, I think most people assume we've earned the right to be in the top 12, and I think they're right. But at the end of the day, we don't know until Sunday. And, if we don't win the game, we do allow that to be a possibility. So we're not going to go in worried about that. We're also not going to go in thinking that we've made it. We're going to play this game like we have every other game. And I was proud of our guys' maturity last week because a lot of times once you kind of make it in terms of we clinched it, it's really easy to have a letdown. And we were playing a really good Cal team that, like I said, until every game had been a one-score game. And it probably been the best defense we had played to that point. And so for them to come out and play the way they did and start fast and not have a letdown, I thought was a big deal. What's no different now, like, yes, we've made the championship game, but that wasn't our goal. I mean, it was a goal. We want to go compete and try to win it, and we know it's going to be hard. So I don't think our guys are in that mode. We definitely aren't relaxed. We don't think we haven't won anything yet. We haven't made anything yet, and so. But we're gonna respect Clemson as our next opponent, like we have the last 12, and see if that formula can keep working.
It may be a little more obvious how a season like this can help an athletic department, but kind of from the university as a whole, I've heard the application numbers are up.
Yep.
And maybe you just feel a different environment on campus to see kind of where things have gone over the last 4 decades for this program to come to where you are today. How much pride can you take in being a part of that?
Well, a lot of pride in being a part of that. I mean, SMU's a special place. So many people love this place and have poured into it, both time, resources, just, their passions. It was the vision for the university. I mean, the whole point of getting into the ACC wasn't just for our athletic department. It's because it enhances the profile of our entire university. That's in 2024, that's what college football, in some degree college basketball, does for your universities. It's the flagship branding organization, if you will. Like, so when you are on those national stages, like we're going to be on Saturday night, you couldn't ask for a better infomercial for your school. Like, think of how much branding's being projected for 3 or 4 hours, and you're not having to pay the crazy rates for it, right? And so, and then on top of it, when you win, people want to go to winners and be in environments like Ford Stadium was this year, and that helps. So, yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, whether applications are up 40, 50%, that's a big deal. This is arguably the biggest week at SMU athletics or for the school, I don't know, in decades, maybe ever. On Thursday, our volleyball team's a national seed hosting the first 2 rounds of the volleyball NCAA tournament. And then We've got soccer hosting an Elite Eight match for the chance to go to the Final Four this weekend. We've got basketball playing their first ACC game this weekend. We're playing in Charlotte. Like, it's a big deal, big time all around. And the athletic program and the university, they work together, and it's just been pretty cool to see how we've been able to help each other.
Anything else, guys?
Awesome. All right, thanks.
Coach.